The following is a GoPowercat.com production.
With the NCAA tournament right around the corner, there has been some talk here recently of the tournament expanding from 68 teams to possibly all the way up to 98. Is that a good idea? Let's discuss that further. This is the Big 12 Insiders.
Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show, presented by Synergy Financial Partners. Now let's go to booming North Texas, home of Studio 73. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. It's your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. We are here with Tim Fitzgerald with GoPowercat.com. Today we are discussing, the NCAA tournament. It's right around the corner. To me, it's my favorite time of the year, but they're talking about expanding it. I'm just not sure that that's a good idea. First, I want to remind everybody, look, we're starting a new channel on YouTube, but until we do, continue to subscribe, continue to leave comments, all that good stuff helps us out with the algorithm and helps us keep pushing these things out to more and more people. So we appreciate everybody's support in that capacity. But let's dive into this, Fitz. So first off, the tournament is perfect. Let me just throw it out there. The tournament right now, the way that it is, it's perfect. Why on earth are they thinking about trying to change this thing?
I'm going to disagree with you on it being perfect.
Okay.
64 is perfect. 68 is acceptable.
Gotcha.
I'm not a big fan of the first four. I never have been.
No.
And I understand the realities of why they do it. One, it's done for get that bonus night of games. You get a couple extra nights of games. That's cool. I'm down on that because I do watch them, particularly the ones involving the power conferences. Sorry,
right.
That's just me. But I could do without it. Just go back and give the teams, that deserve all the automatic bids, let them in the bracket full way and cut down on a few of the non-essential at-large bids. That's how I feel. I feel like they're letting too many average teams in the field now. But the second reason why they added the 68 to go, the first four is pretty simple. It saves coaches' butts. So coaches are all in on it because they can say they made the NCAA tournament when they never touched the bracket of 64.
Correct. The thing about it is, and you're right about it being a little bit watered down near the bottom, is because, you're seeing teams get in with 13, 14. Last year, a team with 14 losses. We've seen it with 15, and those weren't conference champions, Fitz. Those are just at-large teams. I'm like, hold on a second. What are we doing? Why are we letting all these teams in? How did you qualify losing 13 games in a season? Where's the qualification there? I mean, at some point you've got to earn it. And I think they've stretched it out so long. This year, it looks like they're going to let a lot of non-Power 5 conferences in. They're talking about there might be 6 teams from the Mountain West. I think that's probably deserved. Okay, they get 6 teams in because you see an ACC that's down. The conference isn't very good. The Big Ten usually gets 9 or 10 teams in. Well, they're not going to do that this year. They're down a little bit. So the Pac-12, especially, Jiminy Christmas, I think there's only going to be 2 teams, and that's all that really even deserves to be in that conference at this point. So, getting in some of these mid-major teams in the conference, but if they expanded, Fitz, now, again, you're opening up. What are we going to see? We're going to see teams out there that just don't deserve to be in the tournament, and then they're going to get in. And then they'll try to justify it because some of those teams are going to win a game or two. That's what is going to happen. And we know it. They're going to get in, they're going to win a game or two, and then they'll be able to justify, oh, well, you see what happened? We let them in the tournament, and this is what they can do. Versus, hey, how about you just qualify for the tournament and not lose as many games during the regular season, and then you don't even have to worry about any of this.
So we're essentially adding the entire NIT field to the NCAA tournament field.
Yes.
Well, look, if you're the Big 12, you're going to get 9 into the NCAA tournament this year.
Right.
We're talking about adding 3 more schools would probably qualify under those expansion rules. you're only going to have Oklahoma State and West Virginia not make the NCAA tournament. Come on, look, I
Yeah.
cover Kansas State, and I'll be blunt. This is not, as of right now, a tournament team.
Yeah.
So this is the NCAA trying to expand the field for what? Entertainment? More basketball? No, more money.
Yes.
Again, seems to be the only motivating factor in any of these changes, whether it's college football playoff or the NCAA tournament. Money, money, money. But here's the thing that bothers me is, yeah, you'll get that money, but some of these games coming down the stretch that have great meaning to maybe making the field or not making the field, will just be another game fans don't need to bother to watch. Why?
Correct.
Yeah, Kansas State's in the field. Yeah, it doesn't matter what they do at Kansas on Tuesday night. They're in the field. That
Right.
makes sense, Brien. K-State, UCF, Cincinnati, do your work in the regular season to make the field a 68. Don't just be in because it's 96. Come on. It doesn't make sense to me.
Right. Well, the one thing that they will run into is it's already somewhat of a watered down product just because of the nature of the beast when you're talking about 1s versus 16s and that sort of thing, 2 versus 15s. You add these other teams, how many people are going to be watching those games? How many people watch the NIT right now? Let's just think about that in general. So if that's what they're really after, I go, you start, and then not to mention how many people are going to go to these games? They already have that problem right now. And they're trying to create these different pods, and it works some places, but a lot of times it still doesn't work. So who's going to these games? And are you going to lose money on that end? Or maybe they're thinking, you know what, TV's going to give us so much money that we don't care if anybody comes to these games. That's fine. We just don't care, and it is what it is. I know that the product out that we're going to see that they're going to push out there is going to be bad, and I'm just not for it. Look, they came out, and I saw something yesterday. They said 72 to 76 is almost a done deal. And I started thinking 72, and then I'm like, well, they got 68 now, so that's just 4 more teams. So that's basically 2 more games. Okay, then 76. And I'm like, well, why? And that's what I'm really, other than money, I'm really trying to figure out the why. And if it is just about money, maybe try to go renegotiate with CBS and see what you can do there, with Turner and all those people. Try to get more money out of that versus watering down a product, Fitz.
Yeah, look, really adding 4 more teams to the bracket. Essentially the next 4 out are in. I see what they're doing with the 72, Brien. They're going to have a play-in game for every bracket. Right now, It's just 2 of the brackets. I get that, but they want to have that 12 seed play-in game. I get it, but no.
No.
Go the other way. Get it back to 64. God Lord, man.
Yeah.
This whole thing, at some point, the TV networks got to say, you know what? You adding more games of the tournament, let's say they go to 96. Now that great 8-9 game everyone loves to watch because that team gets to advance to play the 1 seed. That becomes the 12-13 game to play the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No.
Nobody wants that. Nope.
Those are teams that probably weren't in the bracket at any time in the past, and they have no shot probably to upend a 1. That 16 over 1 was glorious, but it doesn't happen very often. We got it twice now, I think. But 12-13, I don't want to watch that.
Correct.
I just don't.
Correct. Plus, they're going to be stretching it out even further. That's the thing is that, you can't play all these games, back to back to back to back. So the tournament is going to be longer. That's the whole thing. And maybe that they don't care about that. Maybe they're not worried about the tournament being longer. But I can tell you, you go to 96 teams. The tournament's going to be longer. That's just the facts of the matter. And if they're okay with that, I guess. But I don't know, Fitz. Like I said, I think the tournament's perfect. I get exactly what you're saying as far as 64 teams. Yeah, get back to 64. If it's at 68, it is what it is. But the way that it is right now is just fine. I think the one thing that they have to be careful, and we know the NCAA, we know how studious they happen to be. But if they're trying to compete with football, that's a losing battle. So I don't know why they would be, unless they just say, hey, we can still try to make a bunch of money and we can close the gap a little bit. You're never closing the gap. So it's a losing battle to try to compete with football on that aspect. And maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe they feel like they're losing control because they don't control football. And this is the way that they can have control, is by controlling this NCAA tournament, adding more people in, inviting more to try to get more support. But I don't think that's going to help, because the teams are going to go, if they're going to leave the NCAA, they're just going to leave. And the other schools, if they're smart, and I know we've discussed that before, they'll stick around and not play those other teams. But if they get invited, they're going to go too. So it's a double-edged sword.
This is a mess. Look, I might be more open to a little bit of expansion of the tournament if we started basketball in January.
Right.
Then you're playing May Madness and it's cool, and there's not a whole lot else going on. Baseball just started, but I'm in on that, but not this many teams, Brien. Make it stop. Isn't that your line? Make it make sense.
Yes. Make it make sense. It is just, it's weird. I don't like it. And on that note, I think we're just going to take a quick break here, Fitz.
Yep.
I think we're going to get a word from our partners at Synergy Financial, and we'll come back on the other side and wrap this one up, and we'll go from there. Thanks. We'll be right back with a word from Synergy Financial.
At Synergy Financial Partners, the mission is to change the way Americans plan for their financial future. Synergy doesn't just offer you a financial plan. At Synergy, the goal is to help you find your best financial future. Learn more at synergyfinancial.com.
Welcome back to the show. Let's head back to the studio.
All right, welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. Again, this is Brien Hanley. Again, here with Tim Fitzgerald from GoPowercat.com. Look, guys, it's the tournament is a special thing. And I think the more that you try to tinker with things that are already special, that are already going good. I understand trying to update, people update houses. They update cars. They fine-tune things. And I get all of that stuff. But this isn't a fine-tune. This is a change, and they are trying to change the tournament and actually change what it means to qualify for an actual bid in the tournament. They're lessening that. And when you do that, that doesn't make it as fun. That doesn't make it as valuable. And that's the whole thing. I have a feeling that they're going to screw this up, Fitz, because again, it won't be that big of a deal, because, hey, I can go 17-15 on the season and we made the tournament because we beat a couple of teams in our conference that are good. So we made the tournament. Well, I mean, then it almost becomes, is the regular season even important? And you run that risk, Fitz. You run that risk.
So let's add all this up. Most of the conferences next season are going to go to 20 conference games, which is good. That's where the quality basketball is played most often. I wish there was a greater emphasis in the non-conference on scheduling quality opponents, not necessarily power conference opponents, but good ones, even if they're, from a mid-major. But those glorious first round games now are second round games. As I mentioned, the 9 team to advance to play the 8 team will have to play the 16 seed first. It doesn't add up to me, Brien. It just look, you're attempting to improve the quality of the product. Well, the top 8 seeds in all 4 regions will get a bye.
Right.
So that first day, you don't have any of your top 8 seeds in action. I would imagine it'll be like the sites will now be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Wednesday, Friday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Those games you're adding, we don't need those.
No.
We don't want those.
No.
Quit making mushy first round matchups and thinking, oh boy, more basketball. Come on. Basketball is good and enjoyable because these are the teams that have earned it on the court to get there, whether it was an automatic bid from a small conference or they scrapped their asses off down the stretch to get on the right side of the bubble.
Right.
That whole bubble chase will be lost.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to be watching to see if West Virginia can somehow climb into the field despite only winning 4 or 5 games in the conference.
Exactly.
Yikes.
Yeah. Joe Lunardi will be out of the job.
Oh,
I
well,
mean, he
that's
will
okay.
become
Now I'm in favor.
obsolete.
Now I'm good. I'm good. Joe Lenard, look, yeah, bracketology will become much less intense, much
Yeah.
less drama if the next 4 out suck.
Yeah.
And we all like, well, they don't belong in any tournament because you'll be scraping down to the Big 12 teams and other conferences that might be bubble teams for the NIT in the past.
Yes. And they'll
And
be
now
in the NCAA tournament.
Now you're listing them on next 4 out or, the first 4 out. Yeah. I find this whole topic somewhat repulsive, but a good reflection of what college athletics has become about. How can we make more and more and more and more money? How can we just blow up everything that's traditional so we can line our pockets? And you know what? F those fans. What do they think? It belongs to them. It belongs to us. We're the TV entities. Come on, let's make this idea just go away. And hopefully the NCAA membership stands up and says, we got other things to worry about. We just do. Why are we voting on this? Yes. And I do wonder if there's not an element from the NCAA perspective that is layered into the possible breaking off of the Big 2 football conferences to try to say, look, we're going to put more of your teams in this bracket on the high-paying NCAA tournament. You better not leave. You know what? If that's a concession, okay, but I still don't like it.
No. Well, I mean, here's my pushback on that. If they really thought that, and that was what they were trying to do, they just wouldn't invite as many mid-majors. They would just push the mid-majors to aside and add some. Now, it wouldn't be justified because you can't tell me that an SEC school or a Big 12 school or a Big 10 school, whatever the conference may be, that they are 19-13 on the season gets in over a mid-major that's 20-6. But you're going to say, oh, well, you know what? Too bad, so sad. They play in this conference. We value all their losses more than all of your wins, so we're going to have them be in. And because that's what literally they would be saying, is that it doesn't matter what you did. But here's the thing, Fitz. We've seen it, and we literally just saw it in football. Look at Florida State. We just saw it in football, and they are a Power 5. So if they can do it to Florida State, they will absolutely do it to a mid-major to try to keep those schools or those conferences from leaving. They absolutely would do that. And maybe this is part of that. Maybe those conferences are pushing back and saying, no, you don't need to expand the field. You just need to keep these little guys out of the field, which to me would ruin what the tournament is about to begin with. Because for me, it's all about seeing the little guy and how they can compete with the big guy, because in football they can't, but in basketball they can. And it's a difference. You're right. They in football, there's no competition. In basketball, not only is there competition, Fitz, they can win. I go, because basketball, there's only 5 out there. You get a guy that they know another team can't guard, it's a problem. So I like, or I shouldn't say I like, I understand what you're saying with that part of it is, but I've seen the greed be too much, and we just saw it in football. They'll kick them out and just say, nope, no little guy. And Florida State apparently was a little guy. It's crazy.
It's all us. It's all about us. Money, 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 money. Let's take all of it. When in reality, the fact that FAU, okay, they beat Kansas State, made it to the Final Four this year or last year was a beautiful thing. That is so cool. That entire Final Four field was awesome. San Diego State. I mean, that's what we enjoy.
Right.
You've got a group of games where you can prove it, and you earned your way in the tournament by proving it on the basketball court, not because you got third in the Sun Belt.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Doesn't make sense. We'll take a quick break here again, and then we will end the show on the other side of this. Again, one quick word from our partners at Synergy Financial, and we will be back to wrap this conversation up.
At Synergy Financial Partners, the vision is to build the world's largest consumer financial education and empowerment company. Synergy doesn't just offer you a financial plan. At Synergy, the goal is to help you find your best financial future. Learn more at synergyfinancial.com.
Welcome back to the show. Let's head back to the studio.
All right. Welcome back to Big 12 Insiders. Again, this is Brien Hanley with Tim Fitzgerald. Wrapping this up, Fitz, like I said, I love the tournament the way that it is.
Yep.
I think it's an absolute mistake to expand it at all. 72, 76, 90, 96. I don't care what it is. If they put it at 70, I think it's too many. The tournament the way that it is now is just fine. Make it something that's attainable, but you have to go and attain it. Don't make it so that everybody, that's kind of what people get mad about this society, a participation society. Don't make it into that, because if you do, I'm telling you, it will kill the product, Fitz. It will just kill the product.
I'm with you. That's a great comparison. It's like we've got to include everyone or we're going to hurt someone's feelings. It's sports. You get your feelings hurt.
Yes.
I just don't get this one at all. But again, it's just about money. And once NCAA, entities, whether it's this NCAA itself or a university or conference, they start seeing money, they start reaching for it, and they don't care who they knock over on the way. Let's just slow down here and work with what we got, because there's a lot of things that are in place now that aren't working right. Let's focus on those things.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for taking the time to join us today, Fitz. We appreciate it. Again, everybody, Big 12 Insiders. We started having a show Tuesday through Friday, but we're going to do a recap on Monday. So make sure you tune in at 1 o'clock on Tuesday through Friday. We'll tinker in and figure out the timing on the Monday show. But either way, we are out there on YouTube. Please come and subscribe. Again, we appreciate all the support that we have had. We will be back and try to do it better tomorrow. See you later.
This has been a GoPowercat.com and Spirit Street production. Please support this show by subscribing to this YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite podcast platform.